Razorback Talk. For the fans, by the fans. This is Inside the Hog Pen with your hosts, Razorback Zach and Marcus MC Carlton. Yeah! It's Wednesday night, and you know what that means. It's time for another Inside the Hog Pen. Hello, everybody. I'm your host, Razorback Zach from the Central Arkansas Hog Pen, joined by my brother, my co-host, and let's face it, the glue that holds the whole damn thing together, and he's hyped, but he's not alone in that hype. Marcus MC Carlton at the bottom of your screen, back for her third week and still rocking on the Twitter. Sarah Swish Vogel. What's up, y'all?
Hey.
Sarah, you're muted.
Yeah, you have to unmute, huh?
Sorry, I was eating ice earlier.
There we go.
Okay, so we have got a lot to cover, and apparently there's a football game going on down in Gainesville this weekend. But guess what? As far as we're concerned, football ain't over. We'll touch on it, but, big whoop, right? 7-3. But hoop season has officially kicked off. We're going to talk all things Razorback hoops, both men and women, because there was some shocking news coming out of the women camp from the Lady Razorbacks earlier this week. But stay tuned for that. But, y'all, Hog Hoops, just to start off, Hog Hoops, 81-77 in an overtime thriller in an exhibition game.
Mm-hmm.
I know the two of you are like chomping at the bit and ready to get after it.
I will defer to Sarah because she was there. She got to see it firsthand. So take it away, Sarah.
Calling it an exhibition game is just wrong because
right.
that was almost more lit than the Auburn game.
Ooh.
We just didn't storm the court.
We are looking.
Now we're used to winning, so we don't storm the court anymore.
Yeah.
Well, and I've got when we hit our bacon bits, I've got an interesting stat for you for basketball, by the way. But make sure you leave us a review, like, share, follow, subscribe, give us 5 stars, give us 3 stars, but don't give us 4. Don't give us 4. Make sure you guys also like, share, subscribe, follow anywhere you listen to your podcast, because guess what? We are now in podcast form on Amazon, Google, Spotify, Apple. Did I miss one? iHeart? Are we on iHeart, MC?
We're okay. So we're on. I'm got my cheat sheet here. I'm looking at it. Apple, Amazon, iHeart, Spotify, and there's another one called Radio Public. I'd never heard of, but it was there, so I added it. Working on Google. Google is not playing nice right now. They're kind of being Dan Enos right now and just kind of screwing everything up. So I've got to work through that. But we're But if you have a Google device, just get on Spotify and you can find us there.
By the way, if you want to get in on the action tonight, because everybody's excited about that Purdue game, leave us a question or comment in the Hog Wildlife and feedback, whether you're watching on YouTube or Facebook. We can get it on Twitter, but if you leave it on Twitter, we got to pull up the Twitter feed. So don't feel bad.
Okay, this is Twilight Zone, because normally when the comments start in, they start in with razzing on Zach a little bit. I'm being attacked tonight.
Out of the gate, Bray Brooks says not even a hog. We're not even through the first segment.
Yeah. and like, this is end of the world stuff, because Bray Brooks is about as far from being a Hog fan as you can be. So the fact that he came inside the Hog Pen just to give me a hard time, welcome. So, and
I have to have a backstory though. Why, if it's not suitable for work, we won't talk about it. But
no, I'm trying to figure out why I still owe him lunch.
What did you do to?
He's going to have to refresh me on that. But I'm an old man, and sometimes my memory is not what it used to be. But hey, Bray, you know where I work, brother. So holler at your boy, and we'll go get some lunch.
All Masonic, maybe.
No,
I'm just kidding. I'm kidding.
Bray's
All
a
right.
good dude, man.
Make sure you guys like, share, subscribe, to follow us anytime we go live. Next thing, bacon bits. All right. So now that we're transitioning more to basketball, these are now 3-pointers and not your 4 downs. Your first 2 come from football. Your first one, Ben Hill Griffin Stadium, is one of 2 SEC stadiums where Arkansas has never won. Can anyone name the other one? Sarah, can you name the other SEC stadium we have never won in?
Bama. No, we talked about that one. LSU then.
We've won it down in Death
there.
Valley.
Not since I've been alive.
You were alive 2 years ago. Remember Cam Little hitting the gritty after he hit the game winner?
No, I didn't watch football till a year ago. So
yeah,
I started at the wrong time.
Yeah.
The other one is.
Now, did you start with the Liberty game last year? Because if you did, we may have figured out a problem here.
Yeah.
There it is.
No, you did not.
There it is.
Oh my God. Okay, we
I
need.
have
we
to
need
go
like,
back, but I think so.
We need like some kind of cleansing, something, seance or something to.
No, we can keep it how it is as long as we win in basketball. I don't care.
So the other one is Faru Field, a.k.a. the University of Missouri. Now, the Hogs are 0-5 all time in Gainesville. We have never won in Gainesville. So maybe, fingers crossed, we can get a win.
I'm surprised. I can't believe you haven't thrown out one of your favorite lines to say when talking about the SEC, because that's where all the Mark Curls BS began.
I wasn't there yet.
Okay.
I was gonna wait till we actually got into football.
Okay. All right.
Oh, trust me, it's coming.
All right. Bray has come back. He's got the answer for us.
You simply owe me lunch.
Yeah, I just simply owe him lunch. No reason needed. So Bray is a videographer extraordinaire here in Northeast Arkansas, and he on his comment there he was talking about he had worked with the Brandon Burlsworth Foundation, and that was as close as he could get, or close as he had been to being a Hog fan. Well, that's pretty close, man. If you're working with the Burlsworth Foundation, that's awesome. Your
next bacon bit. Through 8 games, Arkansas ranks 5th in the SEC. This one surprised me, by the way. Arkansas ranks 5th in the SEC and 31st nationally in total defense, allowing 333 yards per game. Arkansas's defense has allowed 23 points a game this year, the same it allowed during the 9-4 run in 2021. So the defense is doing its job.
Yeah.
We just got to get offense.
Yeah, the defense has been, I wouldn't say lights out, but compared to last year, they're pretty close.
Now, here's your basketball one in reference to what you were saying earlier, Sarah. Since Eric Musselman's arrival, Arkansas leads the SEC in overall wins with 95, overall home wins with 60, third in the SEC in home wins at 27, while sitting at 11th in the NCAA total for overall wins at 95.
Which is also since I've been enrolled in school.
I think it's safe to say Arkansas basketball has returned.
Yeah. Yeah.
And
See,
then,
okay, I'm gonna go complete old man here for a minute, but those kind of stats are what I grew up on. Okay, and I grew up in the heyday. I mean, Todd Day, Lee Mayberry, Corliss, Scotty, all of that stuff that you see on YouTube that you hear about when Arkansas was the winningest program of the 1990s. That's what I grew up on. So this to me is where basketball is supposed to be.
Yeah, and then so we're going to mention it later, but soccer and volleyball are knocking it out of the freaking park. So here's a foul shot from the charity stripe for soccer. Dating back to 2016, Arkansas is 66-9-4 at Razorback Field. 10 of those 66 wins have come against ranked teams, including number 1 North Carolina in 2019.
Mm-hmm.
How do you like that? All right, that's going to do it for segment number 1, if I don't hit the wrong button here. Coming up, we're going to jump headfirst into football, and then we're going to rush through it just like the Arkansas offense does on their plays, on their scoring drives. And then we're going to jump headfirst into Hog Hoops. You're listening and watching to Inside the Hog Pen on the Sideline Radio Network. Back right after this. right, welcome back to Inside the Hog Pen on the Sideline Radio Network. Razorback Zach, Marcus MC Carlton, and Sarah Swish Vogel hanging out with you on a Wednesday night. Thank you, everybody, for joining us. All right, let's get this done and over with. Kind of like the Arkansas scoring drives during football season. Arkansas comes off a bye week after firing Dan Enos, and which I think was the best decision Sam's made this year.
Yeah, had to happen.
They travel to their final away game this Saturday, 11 o'clock, bottom of your screen, ESPN2. They go to Gainesville to play 5-3 Florida. Now, my question is, can we do it? Can we pull it off now that Enos is gone? Now the bad blood's out. You get Kenny Guyton in. Sarah.
Apparently Rocket's back.
Don't steal thunder. And then, so Sarah, we'll start with you. You're up there on the hill, obviously. You're around majority, if not all of the team at some point during the day. What's the error now that it's a week removed from Dan Enos being fired?
So I actually do have one football player in my class. I'm not around the whole team, but I was talking to him earlier today after our little test, and he was saying that everybody seems to kind of have more energy, but also like they're now all healed up. So KJ doesn't feel beaten to death anymore. You know, Rocket's back.
Magically healthy.
But he just said it seems like everybody's just a little bit more excited than they were 3 games ago.
Okay.
And so I think there's a possibility we could go in. I'm not expecting that. I just want the offense to look better.
MC, we've never, ever won in Gainesville. We've come close. Hashtag screw you, Mark Curls.
2009. Yep.
Are the cards finally lining up that we could go in? Because Florida's not all that great. I mean, yeah, they're 5-3, but they're not the Florida that we're used to seeing.
Well, so they're 5-3. They're not real happy with their coach right now either. They're of course 5-3 is not living up to Florida Gator expectations. I think one of the things that plays into Arkansas's advantage is that Florida is coming off of an absolute skull dragging by Georgia. So they're going to be beat down mentally and physically coming into this game. The SEC network did them no favors by putting this game at 11 o'clock because Florida had planned a blackout. They're wearing black uniforms and had this whole thing built up, and then they get put in the 11 a.m. time slot. So that, that kind of kills all the mojo that would have went along with the whole blackout theme and all that. I still have no faith in the offensive line. You may have solved one problem by getting rid of Dan Enos and, changing up your offensive game planning, but you still got the same 5 guys playing offensive line. And that's been the biggest problem with the offense all year long. But now that begs the question, was the problem with the offensive line due to the type of scheming that was being put in place from the offense? Or is it 2 separate issues?
Sarah, what do you think?
I have no faith at all in our football team.
But
if you throw 50 daggers, eventually one's going to hit the middle.
I like it.
There it is.
So you're telling me there's a chance.
Right? John Caldwell says, think the offense will look any different from Kenny and Pittman holding closed practices all week. Yes, I do. I think
Well, I kind of feel like it had nowhere to go but up. So you're going to have players re-energized. You're going to have Kenny Guyton going out there. This is basically, a live audition.
This is a job
for him to be considered as an offensive coordinator, if not here, maybe somewhere else. He's never called plays before. He does have a good football pedigree, but this being the first time that he's called live plays in a game, I think Arkansas may start hot. just simply off of the adrenaline thing, the change. But what I want to see is I want to see mid third quarter when it is a crucial third down. Say it's a 3rd and 6, 3rd and 7, and Arkansas comes up and they have to convert. What's going to happen there? What's going to happen? Are they going to, are they still going to have that same adrenaline they opened the game with, or are they going to fall back into that old bad habit of, everything we've seen up to this point in the season?
Well, and I think, honestly, what I want to see from this team, especially in the second half, is don't take your foot off the gas. Keep going. If you can score, score. Don't worry about, respect and all this. They don't respect you.
Well,
So
and
why
I
are
don't
you
know.
why are you respecting them?
Somebody said what I was going to say. As long as we don't call a shotgun on 4th and 1.
Yeah. John
We're
Caldwell.
already doing better.
John Caldwell is back inside the Hawk band. Longtime fan of ours, by the way. So what's up, John? I hope things are well. The other deal that I find interesting, and again, y'all know me, when it comes to Razorback sports, I'm full of conspiracies, but Rocket is magically healthy again. I think I called this at some point where if you fire Dan Enos, Rocket's magically going to go, hey, I feel better. MC, you put a tweet out that the West Coast rehab is doing some major.
Yeah, the out of state rehab is working miracles.
Yeah,
because you had Nick Smith that went out to, I think he went to L.A.
He went to
to get his, and then Rocket went down to Dallas. Actually, I was looking on my phone just now, if trying to figure out if Benny Hinn is still doing his Miracle Crusades, and see if maybe he had one in Dallas within the last couple of weeks or so. Because, if you know that name at all, the televangelist, he'll put his hand on people and they'll fall out and suddenly they're healed of whatever ailed them. So I was trying to find out if maybe Rocket had flown his way down to Dallas just to see Benny Hinn, but that's no such luck. He wasn't in town.
That's pretty fun. Let me jump over here. Loki says, so when can we start partying like it's 1994?
Oh man.
When? We already started.
Yeah, these two have already started.
Yeah.
These two have already started.
I'm not planning the celebration parade just yet. But I am looking at my vacation time and looking at April and just making notes.
Hey, I'm telling you now, MC, we make it to the Memphis and the Dallas rounds. You and me are going.
One of those falls during spring break too.
I will
let us get that regional in Memphis.
I will sell off a bunch of stuff just to pay to go. Josh Wilbanks, my boy Josh, coming from Nashville, Arkansas, says, "Hey guys, long time no see." Josh, where you been, man? Where you been? By the way,
we've been here. Where you been?
Shout out to my daughter. She's also watching on our YouTube channel tonight.
All right.
Eric Jernigan says, win-win for Kenny G. If he performs a miracle and turns the team around, then his star is on the rise.
Mm-hmm.
If it's a disaster, nobody will blame him because of the state the team was in.
That's a fair point. And the fact that he's never called plays before, that just adds to what Eric's saying here, because he's playing with house money this weekend. So does that mean that he is this is what I want to see. Is he going to go, push all of his chips to the middle of the table and just say, all right, here we go. And how much of a how much length of rope is Sam going to have on him when it comes to the play calling? Because we've seen before problems that we thought were the offensive coordinator were not necessarily the offensive coordinator. I think it was a little more of the head coach trying to tighten the reins a little bit, because we saw some similar problems with Briles and Enos. And the one common denominator there, of course, was Sam. So I'm anxious to see how much rope he gives Kenny to call what he sees fit. Have we heard if Kenny's going to be on the sideline or in the box? Has there been any talk about that?
He is in the booth.
He is in the booth. Okay.
He is in the booth. Which I don't understand why all of a sudden Pitt's wanting these OCs in the booth. I mean, Briles was on the field.
Yeah. He was always right there.
Sorry.
No. What'd you say, sir?
I said we saw how that turned out.
We saw how that turned out.
Well, I did have a football question.
Hit me.
Because I don't really know how all this stuff goes because I'm not a football person.
All right.
But why are they talking about Nudie having to fight back for his playing time? Like he ain't the best person out there.
Yeah,
I'm
glad
do
you
you
brought
want that
up.
one?
No, go ahead. I'll fill in the gaps.
Well, so there's got to be, for him to say it like that, there has to be something underlying that's preventing him from getting on the field. It's not an injury. We know this because he's come out and said he's healthy. So is it trouble with academics? Is it, we don't know. I mean, honestly, we don't know.
But Rocket can disappear to Dallas for 2 weeks. And
I mean, you said it.
So not to defend Pittman's decision, because if you saw my Twitter, you saw how I felt about his comment about Nudie having to earn his playing time back after coming off an injury. The only thing that makes any kind of sense to me is maybe he's not doing what he's supposed to be doing in practice, or he's not doing his classwork. Now, that completely goes against what you just talked about with Rocket being gone for 2 weeks. But I mean, if he's doing everything right in the classroom, and then he's going to get his rehab, and let's say Nudie is skipping a few classes here and there, and coming to practice, I mean, I could see that, but even so, that's still a stretch. Nudie's the best player you got in the secondary. He's got to be on the field.
Well, but
some guys are just not. They're just not practice players. They know how to turn it on when the lights go on.
Okay, so my question is this is the first time in a long time that Arkansas does not have a rusher with 100 yards in a game.
Yeah, we're lucky to get. I mean, if we got a guy that's got 50, we're doing pretty good.
But in staying on topic with Rocket and Nudie, Sarah's absolutely right. How are you going to let Rocket rehab for 2.5 months, and then all of a sudden he's magically healthy after you fire the offensive coordinator?
Was A&M the last game that he played in? I don't think he played at Ole Miss.
I don't think he played it. I don't think he played at A&M, did he?
I think
he did, because he had a screen pass that went for like 50 yards.
Okay, yeah, I do remember him playing now.
Yeah, and then I saw him limp off the field late in that game, and I don't remember seeing him on the field at Oxford.
I'm gonna be honest. Even the games he played in early in the season, I didn't think he was doing that great.
I agree.
Well, but again, and this is going to be a topic of contention among the fan base because I've seen it on Twitter, just both ways. Mm-hmm. Do you let Rocket back on the team magically? Some people say, I don't think he should be allowed back. He hasn't earned that spot. Some people say he's legit injured, and injuries take time to heal. Everybody heals fast. Look at Aaron Rodgers. He tore his Achilles week 1, and he's back throwing on the field now.
Yeah, that dude is not that MF is not real.
No, but I mean, how are you gonna all of a sudden let Rocket start?
My thing is being a college athlete, I completely understand allowing him to be in the lineup, but putting him as number 1, which I'm not completely sure he is, I just saw somewhere he could be, putting him at number 1 less than a week after he's been healthy, because last week during Pittman's press conference, he wasn't healthy. So he's been healthy less than a week. Putting him at number 1 is absolutely a no-go for me.
Well, but MC, you and I have looked at the depth chart for the first few games after he was out. He was listed as the top as the starting running back.
The depth chart is just kind of something they throw out there. Obviously, they're not updating it, or Rocket wouldn't have been on it this whole time. I don't know. I just don't know. I can see both sides of that. I can see having him in lineup and having him available to play. But I'm kind of with Sarah on him coming back and starting, especially if you're not going to put Nudie back in the starting lineup. Because at that point, it's like, okay, one of these guys is – but I mean, you're talking about 2 superstars, one on each side. And honestly, let's face it, Nudie has played better this year than Rocket has. So if you're going to make Nudie do stuff to earn his spot back, unless there's something going on behind the scenes, like what I had said, either with classes or goofing off in practice or whatever, I don't see how you can put one back in the starting lineup immediately and then say the other one's got to earn his way back.
I just, it doesn't make sense to me. But as we're wrapping up here, let me see. Jonathan Parker says, if the offense looks better the rest of the season, does he get the job or still look at who's out there? KG was going to be on the sideline, but then he changed his mind. I did not know he was going to be at all. I thought that was a Pittman call. I didn't know that was KG.
I didn't know on that either.
I saw somewhere where they were still discussing it early on.
Dennis Campbell says Rockets recovery flunks the smell test to me. Maybe it's legit, but not sure about that.
Something about that knee management, man.
Right. And then Nudie says, Jonathan Parker says, Nudie starts this week. I believe he wasn't 100% healthy from the head injury.
Well, Pittman said that he was cleared to play against Mississippi State. They just didn't put him in because Nudie has to earn his way back onto the field.
Which I don't understand that.
Well, I almost think there's got to be something behind the scenes. Either
There could
broke
also
some
be
kind of team rule or something.
We also talked about like school stuff. There could have been something, like I hate to bring it up, but like the Dixon Street incident last year.
Yeah.
Like Nudie could have gotten in something like that.
Yeah.
Not saying he got arrested or just like an incident happened.
Right.
We have heard about that though. I mean,
maybe not.
I'm not saying that's what it is. I'm just saying, I mean, in today's world of social media and all of this other junk going on, I'm pretty sure we'd have heard about it by now.
Somebody would have had a snap or a TikTok or something about it.
Yeah.
I think.
All right. I'll flash this up one more time, but we're done talking football. That's about all the football I want to talk about.
Yeah.
Sounds good to me.
On the other side of the break, and for the rest of the show, you have my word. School is officially in session.
Mm-hmm.
We are talking Hog Hoops on the other side of the break. You're listening to Inside the Hog Pen on the Sideline Radio Network. Back in 60 seconds. All right, welcome back to Inside the Hog Pen on the Sideline Radio Network. The system decided it was going to keep playing that song, apparently. But it is time, officially. We are done talking football. It's time to go to school with MC School of Hog Hoops. All right, Arkansas comes out off an exhibition game,
mm-hmm.
and beats number 3, upsets number 3 Purdue, 81-77 in a overtime thriller, and that's exactly what it was an overtime thriller. And I'm going to turn it over to the two that are actually knowledgeable in Hog Hoops. I'll still be here, don't worry. But Sarah, you were there inside of Bud Walton. Tell us about it.
I now have a voice after 4 days of no voice and not being able to talk, because that environment was absolutely electric, which my seats were right by the tunnel, across from the student section, so right in the mix. I was also at the end of the Razorback bench, so could see all the celebrations, but everybody was into it. Like everybody was up yelling, screaming. Oof, it was not an exhibition game. You guys can call it an exhibition game or whatever, but it was a game, a real game. And we were playing in March.
Let me jump over to the live fan feedback real quick. We have some royalty in the house. Chris Faraci's in the house. What's up, Chris? One of our loyal fans. Dennis Gamble. Chef James Harris says, rest in peace, Bobby Knight. Yes, for those of you that don't know, earlier today, the legendary Bobby Knight passed away. And our thoughts and prayers go out to him and his family and every player that whose lives he touched. But we've got royalty in the house. Mama Linda's in the house. I'm so excited about basketball season. Let me tell you something.
Me too, Mama Linda.
Mama Linda was lighting me up during that game on over text. She's excited. By the way, Casey Sutton, our number one fan, Casey Sutton, who kicked Cancer's ass not once, but twice. She said, I messaged MC and told him I thought I heard him here after the win. I thought I heard that too, Casey.
I told her it was very likely because I was up here in my little hog pen at my house getting really, really loud.
But Eric Jernigan says, that was the greatest exhibition game I've ever seen. It felt like March.
Yeah.
Loki says, make no mistake, that was not an upset. That was us putting the rest of the NCAA on notice. MC, you were chomping at the bit, man. I got to ask you, Teach. I got to ask you, have you ever seen a Razorback team this gelled and this together in October?
Not a team like this to where you've got a bunch of guys who have not played together before. In this era, for a team to be gelled like that this early on is just unheard of. You know, when you had the majority of your team being 3- and 4-year guys back the hog ball that I grew up on, you could have that early on in the season. But when you've got however many new faces we've got this year coming in, guys who had not played together other than scrimmages and maybe some pickup games over the summer, that's unheard of. It's absolutely unheard of to have guys that have not played together in a real life scenario come in and have the community. And they still had a few breakdowns. Don't get me wrong. There were a couple of fast break opportunities where you could tell their timing was just a little bit off, because I remember a couple outlet passes that sailed a little bit long in the middle of a run. And I was just like, by Christmas, that's a dunk. So it's just one of those things that they just got to get the timing down. But everything that went, I was so impressed with this game. Simply not just the fact that they were gelled, but the way that they communicated on defense. And I got to throw a shout out to Chandler Lawson, the Memphis transfer coming in. That dude locked down Zach Edey. Locked him down. The national reigning player of the year. And Chandler Lawson put him on lockdown. Now, if you look at the stats, it doesn't look like he put him on lockdown because he ended up with 15-9. But it was a very quiet 15-9. What I really loved to see was the fact that Chandler Lawson was fronting him, playing in front of him on defense instead of standing behind him. He was standing in front of him, putting his arm out in front of him like you're supposed to. And I lost count of how many lob passes they threw that we had backside help come over and either knock it out of bounds or knock it away to create a turnover. And that's something we didn't have last year. First off, we didn't have anybody with the IQ to, well, I'm not going to say we didn't have anybody. Most of the guys who got to play in time did not have the IQ to know when to rotate over and help. And if they did, we got burned because their guy was left open and we didn't rotate properly, long story short. The other piece of it is we didn't have anybody that would play in front last year. Everybody tried to play from behind. We gave the Big Ten a blueprint on how you defend Zach Edey. You put somebody in front of him, you have defensive help rotate from the backside or the offside of the ball. And he got in foul trouble. He got frustrated. And the Mitchell twin, which one do we still, is it Mikkel that we still have?
Mackay.
Mackay.
He's the high scorer.
Okay. All right.
She really.
He also always had the higher hair.
Hey, I like it. Whatever
That's how you keep them separated.
Hey, there you go. I like
Mackay.
Gotcha.
I saw some footage of Mackay, And if you were just watching the game and watching the ball, you didn't see this. But when the ball was away from Edey, Mekhi was always bumping him to get him off his spot. Now, while that doesn't look like much, that plays a huge role in defense because it knocks him out of his rhythm. Every post player has a rhythm that they want to get into. And Sarah, you chime in on this because I imagine you played a lot more post than I did because I'm what Coach called a power guard. So I had skills of a power forward and trapped in the body of a guard. But he would knock him off of his, where he would wanted to stand and wanted to post up. Mekhi was just constantly bumping him, knocking him off his stance and getting him out of rhythm and frustrating him to the point where he would foul Mekhi. It was beautiful. It was beautiful to watch between Mekhi doing that, Chandler Lawson fronting, and us having the backside help on defense. It was a beautiful, beautiful thing to watch.
The help, especially because that was one thing that I probably punched too many chairs at Bud Walton last year because it'd be such an obvious play that they were going to lob to the post or like you knew a drive was coming and no one would be in help. And it drove me insane. And maybe that's shout out to my high school coach, Coach Hunsucker. That is something that like I literally got sat on the bench for. Mm-hmm. If you weren't in help side once, you're done. See you later. Yeah. So to watch that happen in college was driving me nuts. The Purdue game, getting to watch a good defense rotate, move, and then which I will say Eddie, however you say his name, had a lot of points because when the help side did come over, that kind of, I call it like a gnat, like slapping around.
Yep.
A lot of guys aren't realizing, and so there were fouls, and then he was on the foul line.
Yeah.
But a lot of that'll get cleaned up. But to see them be kind of scrappy, Devo diving into a dude like twice his size.
Oh my God, yeah.
I think it was the third quarter.
Yeah.
Maybe, we don't play quarters, it's halves, but
but it was the equivalent of the third quarter.
Yeah. He literally took, in an exhibition game, that kind of effort, intensity, the whole game was just, even guys who I think expected playing time, like Davenport on the bench, the way they cared, it sounds bad, the way they cheered and they all care for each other. Davenport in Brazil, when they weren't in, were literally on the court cheering for the players, running out there, hyping them up, especially when they got Edey to foul. There was one time Musselman shoved Davenport back into the bench because he was so excited.
I remember seeing that one during the game.
Yeah.
Going back to Chandler Lawson, MC, I'd like to call out a certain Memphis fan. I have a text from him that says, "Good luck with Chandler Lawson. He was not good at Memphis." To him, I say, haha.
Here's what I say to that. # coaching matters.
You better believe it.
No, # catch us in the Final Four, baby.
So I will say, yeah, right. So I will say this. When Brazil hit the ground, I think all of Razorback Nation took a deep breath and just stopped.
I started crying. I'm not even going to lie. I was turned around, tears in my eyes.
ITHP has a team chat. It's myself, MC, Sarah, and Loki. And the minute he hit the ground, MC and I were both, Sarah, talk to us. Sarah.
Talk to me, Goose.
And then
my phone, I went into the game with 20% on my phone too. So
shout out to Sarah, dude. She held on the whole game.
Yeah.
It died walking out of Bud Walton.
The other thing is, do we have an update on Devo? I mean, does he have is he in concussion protocol?
No.
You want me to text him?
No. Hell yeah. You ain't gonna throw that out there and us not take advantage of it.
He was my neighbor for a long time. So
if please. No,
he's not going to reply anytime soon.
I was going to say, don't do that. He's probably in the practice facility.
Yeah, no doubt.
It's not 11 p.m. So
that's true. Yeah, he's kind of a night owl. So, but
that's true. James, don't worry. We're going to get to your comment in a minute about the Lady Razorbacks. We're going to get through the guys first. You got Alcorn State coming up on Monday to open the season. Let me throw this up here for everybody that needs
tickets are under $20. Buy one and get your butt to Bud.
So anybody that is asking who we're playing, what channel it's on, when are we playing, It's down at the bottom
There
of
you
your
go.
screen. Sarah's pointing at it. Screenshot, write it down. You all know the drill. This Muss has essentially got 2 starting 5s, if you will, on rotation
right now. Yeah.
Give or take.
In the guard position.
You know, we all know he likes to play 7, 8 guys, 9 at the most. And I'm about to mention Sarah's favorite player, Mr. Pinion. No,
Dogging on
Davenport's
Joey.
my favorite now. Well, or L. Ellis.
Well, I mean, do we? Here's my. I'm gonna play devil's advocate for a minute, okay? Yes, we played strong against Purdue, the number 3 team in the country.
He got in the game.
But
Yep.
Are we gonna see a drop off, or do you think? I mean, just to play devil's advocate, because you come out strong, you're 20-0 in non-con, you go into conference and you start 0-3 like we have the last 2 seasons.
You kind of already saw it in the Purdue game. You saw Pinion played 2 minutes. Davenport didn't even play, but
He didn't get much time.
so you're already seeing who's gonna get the majority of the minutes. Obviously Devo's gonna get in there more with him being a little bit hurt in that second part of the half. He didn't play again. I don't think he ever got back out there.
When he
didn't come back in.
No, after he
I
took
didn't think
over
so.
the head, he was done.
He was still lively on the bench, by the way. So I don't think he's.
I just think it was a hard knock. Dude's got a hard head.
Well, I mean, he ran into a 7'4", 300 and whatever pound.
In Brazil, I don't know if the TV channel showed it, but Brazil was finna fight over Devo. Brazil,
You know, when they-
didn't
you're
talk
right.
over Devo, and
When
was not, no one else touch him.
When they broke away, I thought Trevin Brazil was fixing to throw down with somebody in the corner.
Well, so he stood over Devo to kind of like talk to him.
Yeah.
And was like reaching down to help him up. And then one of Purdue's players kind of shoved Brazil like a little bit, trying to do the same thing to his player. And Brazil, I mean, just, and I was like, chill.
Yeah,
So-
it got a little chippy there.
Loki wants to talk about blocker.
I thought for here's what I like about blocker. The guard play that Arkansas has is going to be so good this year that he's going to be allowed to develop at the rate that you want a freshman to develop. Okay. And I say that to say this, compare it to, and I'm not saying he's Anthony Black. Okay. But last year, Anthony Black was basically baptism by fire. Starting point guard pretty much day one. He had to come in and play a role that you would expect to be a sophomore or junior. He come in right out of the gate and was point guard all year long. Layden Blocker, I think it's Layden. He's got a brother too, and I get them mixed up. But Blocker came in. I thought he did very well in the short time he was out there. He was aggressive, but not overly aggressive. Sometimes you get a freshman out there, it gets too hyped up, and they want to try to make things happen. I felt like he let the flow of the game come to him. He didn't force anything. Made the most of his minutes. I mean, what did you see, Sarah?
I think there was one shot he took that I didn't like, but it was also at a very poor time. So I'm going to give him the benefit of the doubt.
Yeah.
Because it was probably a good decision had it been first quarter minutes, but being in the third quarter, I was like, why would you do that? But there was also a few others that did the same thing. I think he also is looking at Mark, who also played phenomenal. We haven't mentioned him. That dude, that 3-pointer took my soul away. But I think Blocker watching Mark play, I think he's going to kind of imitate him a little bit or play a very close version of him. And I saw that a lot in the game as they were kind of doing the same parts of the plays. And so I think he has a great role models ahead of him.
What did you think about L. Ellis?
L. Ellis, Tremont Mark. I have so many comments about them. They were so good.
I think L. Ellis is him. I think he's him.
Both of them, like, I don't know. They make such easy shots look so good, too. Like, a simple layup, I was like, whoa, what did he just do? But, like, he literally just dribbled the hole and shot the ball. But there was also, like, late game situations where them being older
Mhm.
and having played a little bit before versus like a Landon Blocker or however you say his
Yeah.
first name.
Yeah.
Like I would trust them with the ball, like marking that 3-pointer, give him the ball the rest of the year. Like he hit that thing. But also L. Ellis, give him the ball. Like they both were so good and so composed.
Yes.
Like
Yes.
even after he hit that 3, which not to dog on Brazil, but Brazil always does some kind of like, kind of thing. Nothing from Mark. He
Yeah.
ran back, play defense.
Yep.
Simple. And, I like a little bit of showy stuff, but also like women's teams don't do that a lot, which that's changing. But so seeing him like truly just get back and play was a huge thing for me.
Yeah,
So-
I like that. I mean, I don't mind the showiness if you do it at the right time. That was a time where you just get your head down, you get back, and you play defense.
Yeah.
And I love to see that. And the other thing that I really like to see, you touched on this about L. Ellis and Mark both staying very composed. You saw no panic when this game got down to a minute left in regulation, and again a minute left in overtime. You never saw anybody. I never sensed any nervousness from the guys. They, and I can't say that about last year's team. Now, I loved last year's team. I love Anthony Black. I love Jordan Walsh, those guys. But these guys, you can tell these guys have been in this situation before.
They were more nervous about Musselman getting kicked out. I'm going to be completely honest.
I can see that because
Davenport at one point was holding the belt loop to his pants.
The refs in this game, was Mark Curls calling this game? I mean, what the hell?
Well,
No,
it was
Keller.
okay. So it was first game for them.
Blind? Wasn't Helen Keller blind?
Yes.
Yeah.
That's who was on the court.
Blind
So
and
was
deaf.
blind and deaf. I mean, Ray Charles, Stevie Wonder. Brad Staten.
I'll cut them a little slack because it was their first game too. So, yes, write it down, timestamp it. MC cutting the officials some slack.
No,
those guys left last year. That one guy is the ref.
We're not going to play this game.
Little bald head.
No, MC, we're not going to play this game.
We're not ref last year.
No. Brad Staten finally found his way. Apparently, Air Force doesn't know they're up from their down, but he says, "Hello from Colorado. Spent time in Branson, Missouri this past weekend." See,
I'm sorry.
He's from Colorado. Ended up in Missouri. So, Air Force, it up is north. Just remember that, Brad. He says, "I love it when they don't showboat. I always love when they act like they've done it before. No big deal." I mean, and he says goes for all sports.
I like a little bit of swagger. I like a little bit, but again, it's a timing thing. You got to know when to do it. There's a time and place.
And which refs to do it in front of, because I don't want no technicals this year.
Right.
That lose a game.
Yeah, I don't want a technical for doing this. Okay.
Right. So I was glancing at Twitter while y'all were talking hoops, and I came across a screenshot from a third-party ticket seller.
Gosh.
Yeah, I saw this.
I don't know which one it is, but section 119 inside of Bud Walton, row 13, row M, row H, row D. Sarah, you kind of know where that is and what that is, right?
Yes.
Row 13 goes for $1,700. Row M goes for $2,160. Row H, $2,729, and row D, $2,900 for one ticket.
I mean, who's going to pay that?
Seriously. That's right behind the visitor bench. I'll pay that to give them hell.
I was gonna say, MC, you and I would probably pay that if we had.
I had the money. Actually, I rephrase that. I would never sit in that area because then you're blocked by them. You know,
sure.
I want to be. So I sit in usually. If you ever want to come find me at a game, I sit in like 121. I think it is, which is to the left of the visitor bench, but in the corner. I usually find a row in there. Yeah. I don't sit in the student section, but yeah.
Loki says they played like they belonged at that level, honestly, and that by itself is awesome. And I
agree. I agree.
Mama Linda says Muss is certainly a proud papa after that game.
He was.
Yeah. It makes, but see, the adjustments and somebody had said this on one of the post games I listened to. It makes getting back onto the court Monday morning, making those small little tweaks and those small adjustments a little bit easier than it would had it come after a loss. You know, you get in, you're energized, you just upset the third-ranked team in the country. Y'all are riding this high wave going into the season. So it makes practice this week. I think it makes it a little bit easier. And Loki wants to know, how about Battle? What did you think of his performance?
He played great too.
He did.
Just it's so hard. There's so many good players that and none of them had. I don't think a single person had 20 plus points. But when you have 6 guys with 15, that's points.
Yeah. And honestly, that's what you want. I mean, you don't want the one superstar to have 30 and everybody else to have 8 or 9. You know, when you spread it around, like you said, with 6 guys that have 12, 15 points, who are you going to double? If you double this guy and you hold him to 8, then this other guy's going to have 19.
Another one who can get in the hole.
Yes. Yeah. Yes. And I think this is probably going to be by far the deepest team that Muss has ever had.
There's no drop off. 1 through 4, there's no drop. Well, I should say 1 through 3, because depending on other teams, 4 or 5, there's a little bit of a drop off because we don't really have a lot of post area. With Lawson coming in, I didn't realize how he was going to fit into there. But with Brazil, Lawson, Mitchell, you're good.
Well, Graham didn't even play. I mean, Graham was still dealing with his back spasms.
They said
they said he will dress out Monday.
They said he could dress out Monday.
Expected to dress out, not
yes.
Brad says,
my feeling on that, if he's not 100%, keep him getting rehabbed, because we're going to need him January, February a lot more than we need him in November.
Personally, I want to see him in the Bahamas.
Yes.
Those are 3 games that I think are a huge test.
100%.
I say heal him up until then.
But
I'm on board with that.
We need to keep this core group healthy.
That's why I'm saying keep him until the Bahamas. Don't push him to come back for freaking Alcorn State, which somebody said they're not going to a game in the near future. $20 tickets for Alcorn State.
That was in response to the third party football tickets.
Yeah.
Or the Duke tickets. Duke
tickets.
Oh, those were for Duke.
Those were
I'm sorry, sell a kidney and maybe you can come.
Richard Wright
I'm going on my $100 student ticket that I paid for the entire year. So.
Right. Richard Wright finding us. He said he was listening to Pittman on the Hog Show. He said he just got here. Sad about football season, but I never ever lose faith. Richard, you may be the last hope. You may be the last hope for Razorback
all those
Nation.
and him sitting at the catfish hole.
Oh, by the way, y'all, speaking of last hope, I have my hat on backwards again this week. Hopefully that doesn't deter us from being the worst fan base in the country. And Josh Wilbank says that Nolan even says Muss could go all the way this year. Nolan is a big fan of Muss, and that's saying something.
Yeah. I listened to a little bit of the sound bites that they had from Nolan talking about what he sees with this team and what he sees with Muss. And, you know, I'm really trying to bridle all of the hope and, you know, all the really good feelings that I had coming off of that, because, you know, I don't want to get the cart too far out in front of the horse, but I will say that things look really, really promising for this season. And now that said, you look across at some of these other exhibition games, Tennessee goes up to Michigan State and beats Michigan State in East Lansing. And that's not – winning up there is about like winning in Bud Walton if you're an opponent. It normally does not happen.
But
so for Tennessee to go up there and win that.
Bammer was struggling with Wake Forest.
They did. They blew a 16-point lead in the second half and got beat.
I think for me, had we lost, I still would have said the same thing. For me, watching that game, what I realized is last year I saw a lot of me's, and this year I see a lot of we's, but also buying into the defensive strategy. The way they played lockdown on Eddie, you would not have seen last. Like, look at how whatever his name went off against us from Bama, whatever his name is. I just know Gun Boy. Anyway, he went off and no one would stop him. No one would play defense. And we couldn't rely on Devo constantly.
The one thing I did see on defense, though, is sometimes we left guys open at the top of the key for clear three-pointer.
We did.
There was a couple of times. It wasn't all the time, but there were certain instances where they left Pink Shoes dude, and I love the names for these
3. I think it was 3.
Yeah, it
was
3.
it the one that they were
His little
the guy that they were talking about that was born in Arkansas?
Mm-hmm.
Okay,
I
yeah.
don't know. I just know number 3 kept running his mouth.
Yeah, I think
and-
Smith was his name. Yeah.
They would leave
For
him open
me-
at the top of the key.
For me, a lot of them I saw were breakdowns from plays, and that will take. That's where you kind of saw the new team, like learning where to go once a shot's hit and there's a rebound, like where to go after that, or if someone falls, how to maneuver out of that. A lot of that is what was happening, where I didn't feel too bad about it, like let it happen kind of thing.
Yeah. Well, that's the kind of stuff that you want to happen in this game, because then Muss and Keith Smart and the other guys can take this footage and say, okay, let's pause it right here. And look, in this scenario, instead of doing this, we need to do ... Yeah.
Also, if I'm the Big Ten, that's where Purdue is, right? Big Ten.
Yes.
I'm calling Muss, asking for game film, and Muss better be asking for $1 million for it, because he just wrote them the defensive strategy on, hey, Eddie's not going to be player of the year this year.
Nope.
Yeah. Well, and I thought it was interesting that Muss, it's insane to me the amount of encyclopedia type stuff that he has in his head, because he was talking about his days at Golden State when they would prepare for Shaq, and they used some of that same game planning that they used on Edie. He went back to some of his old notes, and I mean, my God, Shaq's been retired for what, almost 10 years now?
I think it's been longer.
I was going to say it was before high school.
I mean, a long time, and he still got notes from
when he was with the Magic.
From 20 years ago.
That's one thing about having Muss as a coach that some people, I don't necessarily think they realize, is the NBA also, they suck at defense now. But when Muss was there, it was peak NBA time.
Yeah.
Like good basketball.
If you want to see me, watch the NBA.
I don't watch the NBA.
I don't watch.
That's why I call it the.
Used to.
That's why I call it the me.
Yeah,
I used to watch it, but not anymore.
That's why Muss is such a great coach, and it also his connections makes him great for recruiting. Look, I don't know if everybody else knows, but Walsh got transferred.
He's with the main Celtics now.
Yeah.
So were the Celtics holding him back?
I think
that. Okay, I'm glad that flew over y'all's head, because Matt Hart put that out earlier today about the Celtics holding him back, and I didn't realize he was making a joke. But he was kind of making a joke about remember how
put the handcuffs on him. Yeah. Took me
it flew right over my head too.
I'm caught up now. Hey, we got to pay the bills real quick. When we come back, we're going to continue our basketball discussion, and we've got some shocking news coming out of the Ladybacks camp. You're listening to Inside the Hog Pen on the Sideline Radio Network. Back in 60 seconds. All right, welcome back to Inside the Hog Pen on the Sideline Radio Network. Razorback Zach, Marcus, MC Carlton, and Sarah Swish Vogel hanging out with you tonight on a Wednesday night. I don't know about y'all, but I have the World Series Game 5 on my TV here in the Hog Pen, and I'm hoping my Rangers pull it out. But let's get back to Hog Hoops for a minute. Big expectations coming from the men's side, but on the women's side, we're 7 days away from opening the season, and all of a sudden you hear that Jersey Wolfenberger has entered the transfer portal. Now, technically, MC, she can't actually enter the portal now until March, right? So is she?
Well, she can declare, but she can't really enter it until it opens. It's around spring break, like March 18th or something.
So is she?
You can enter it on like special terms too. So like she's basically in it, but can't be contacted.
Yes.
Until.
Okay.
Yeah, she can't be recruited.
My whole thing is this. Why? I mean, this is 7 days before the.
I think it's smart personally. So
why is that?
She got to see, like they went overseas and played this summer.
Mm-hmm.
She got to see practice a little bit. She knows she's being pushed out. Go ahead and sit out this year. Finish a year at this school that's probably paid for. I don't know how that works out. But then her new school, she now has 2 years instead of wasting a year here, and then she'd only have 1 year. So now when she transferred to that new school, she has 2 years and could, if she's thinking about it the way I've been thinking about classes lately, she could graduate U of A and then start a graduate program there. And then basically be done with 2 degrees. But to me, it's smart because she wasn't getting playing time, which I saw her at Walmart earlier and so badly wanted to go talk to her. So badly. But her level of hype has been, like, it was always Jersey. I played against her when I was a senior. She would have been, I think, a freshman.
So let me ask you this. I'm trying to word this where I'm not sounding like a complete douche. Are we, because of this and because of it being so close to the end of the start of the season, could this spell potentially the end of Mike Neighbors at Arkansas?
No, that'll be our win record this year.
Oof.
Like, completely honest.
I got to heat off that flame.
I'm going to step away. I got to go get the burn ointment because holy hell.
My bad.
Wow. Okay.
Somebody call the fire department.
Someone said I threw shade at Jersey. I don't mean to throw shade at Jersey. Like, she genuinely just wasn't, which it could be.
She had not lived up to the hype.
And we also talked about this earlier with someone telling you Lawson sucks. It could be the same thing. It could be coaching. One of my best friends from high school, she came to Arkansas after playing at Springdale, sucked here. She's at Ole Miss now starting, averaging, 7-8 points a game, which doesn't sound like a lot, but she's playing well up there, and she didn't play well here. And so I think, for me, I don't think it matters in terms of him getting fired or not.
Loki says, now, Sarah, you act like we have to play the defending champs this season or something.
Twice. I think we have to play them twice.
Yeah, I think
but
it's a home and home.
Again, he's making millions of dollars, okay? And the best we've done is the Sweet 16 and the NIT and the WNIT in the first round of the NCAA tournament.
I was honestly surprised he wasn't gone last year.
What? I mean, he's going to end up having to make an Elite Eight run in the big dance if he's going to save his job.
At least make it. Shoot.
Well, but again, I don't think that's enough this year.
I'm saying I just want us to at least make it.
I think if you see him get second round this year, Sweet 16, he's going to save his job.
But
I don't see that happening. But I honestly
I don't
haven't
either.
seen them in action enough. But they're not anywhere close to LSU, UConn, South Carolina. I'm sorry. Like, I know the SEC has really good teams like LSU and South Carolina, but there are so many good women's teams. Like, when I go and
Don Staley and South Carolina are playing a guys team that they're that good.
They're not. Okay, chill out. Because now I want to go off on you about that tweet for believing everything you see on social media. Those are your damn practice players, and we have men's practice players too. So I don't know why South Carolina gets blown up.
I know.
Apparently their practice players are better than ours.
We just got some men from the Hyper building.
Sarah Bree.
She's going to start shooting that flamethrower at us if we ain't careful.
Let's all take a collective breath and duck.
My roommate came in while I'm yelling.
Holy hell.
But
No,
that's things that bother me is that
It is.
we
It
think
is.
South Carolina is better because they have men players.
No, I mean,
We're the same way. We play against men too.
But I mean, going back on Mike Neighbors though, he's gotten to the second round before and he's lost. Has he not? Or is it just has he gotten bounced in the first round? I thought he got to at least.
I know they got upset. The one that sticks out to me is when they got upset. They were the 3 seed in the bracket and got upset by Wright State.
That's the one I was thinking of.
That was 2 years ago, right?
Yeah, because last year they were WNIT last year.
Yeah.
And that was the team that in the regular season beat Baylor and UConn both when Kim Mullaney was still at Baylor. So
Brad Staten says, deep breath, Swish, deep breath. Josh says, watch out, Zach. She gets really mean. That's why we brought her on the show. That's why she's now a co-host.
But I mean, that season was a disappointment because you had the home win over Baylor, the home win over UConn, and then you get into the NCAA tournament and you just completely lay an egg in the first round. Last year, I did not keep up with it as close last year. What's that?
To lose to a team like Wright State, they had some good wins, but to lose to a team like that really looked bad.
Well, in that game, because I watched part of that game. They look like they made Wright State look like a national championship team.
Well, I mean, and how many times in the NCAA tournament, how many times have we seen that? You let a team that is playing a little bit over their head, you let them hang around, you let them build confidence, and then as it gets late into the game, the team who's supposed to win gets tight and they start making mistakes. The underdog is playing loose because you've let them build confidence this whole game and they feel like they have nothing to lose, and they are playing a little bit above their level. I mean, let's face it, if you play a 7-game series there, Arkansas is going to win that series. But that's the beauty of the NCAA tournament. It's a one and done. It's a win or go home.
Yeah.
And anything can happen at that point. And I think that kind of started the downfall a little bit when they lost that, because last year was I thought they should have been a lot better last year, honestly.
Well, they had the talent, but the thing about it is, it's like the guys when they get desperate, they start jacking threes up. But when the ladies start getting desperate, they fall apart.
Well, and I kind of felt like last year at times, a lot of the other 4 players on the floor, I call it the Matt Jones effect. They were kind of standing around waiting on Michaela Daniels to do something, to make something happen. And there's times when a player like a Michaela Daniels can take over, but if you get to the point where everybody else is standing around waiting on her to do something, more times than not, you're not going to succeed with that. Sarah, am I on point here? Yeah,
you're right. We also was Erin there last year, or did she left after last season? I can never.
So I don't think
she left. I don't think she was there last year.
Yeah.
So not having her. Okay, I see both sides. She was a great player inside to have, but not having her, the energy was also different because she was a very me person.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
And so for her to no longer be there, I think I saw a difference. But I haven't seen – there's a lot of new people this year, and so I'm interested to see what happens there.
There's another incoming freshman that has – very similar hype levels to what Jersey Wolfenberger had, and I can't remember her name.
The girl from Farmington?
Maybe so. I can't remember her name. I just remember reading something on Twitter because there was a debate going on Twitter, and they were like, such and such is like the number 12 or the number 13 player in the country coming in this year.
Yeah, but we've said it multiple times, MC. The transition from high school to college, 2 completely different animals.
Well, and Sarah touched on this at the last show. The transition from playing Arkansas high school basketball to playing high level D1 basketball, it's not. I mean, it's like going from Jonesboro, Arkansas to the moon. Okay, it's a heck of a jump. I mean, it's, and I don't mean that disrespectfully. It's just a huge jump.
I quit here now. I
Wolfenberg.
Damn it, Sam. Come on, man. Way to bring this show to a grinded freaking halt.
Well, and then is Sasha back this year?
Sasha's back.
Okay.
Which I'm I hope she's healthy.
I hope so too.
I've played her for a really long time, like since we were kids, and I just genuinely hope she is okay. I hope they didn't like push her into coming back. Like I genuinely want her to be healthy.
Yeah. Yeah, and that's one that I really, you take the Healthline story out of it. I just want to see her succeed just simply because she is I'm selfish here. She's homegrown. She went away. She went to, I think it was Oregon State. Whatever reason it didn't work out. She comes back home, gets a change of scenery. And, I felt like it was starting, things were kind of starting to come together for her. And then the medical issues happened and took her away from the game.
What was her medical issue? If you don't know?
She was basically like having some, is that endoscopic? Like her stomach, like she was basically constantly sick. I'm also going to move upstairs because my roommate's going to have some people over. So I'll be back.
We'll walk through while Sarah's getting readjusted there. As far as Mike Neighbors, I would hate to see him lose his job, but I think he is coaching for his job this year. He's another one of these. He's one of the hometown guys. He's a native Arkansan. He was a huge Arkansas fan before he got the job, but for whatever reason, the success he had at Washington with the Final Four team and some of the other great NCAA tournament teams he had there, it just hasn't translated for whatever reason. And it's not like Pac-12 women's basketball is trash. I mean, you've got some good teams out there that are historically good. Stanford being the one that comes to mind right off the top of my head.
Yeah.
He took Washington to the Final Four. And when that hire was made, I liked the hire when it was made. I thought he was going to be a good one to come in. The program was in a mess with Jimmy Dykes, but you bring in a Final Four winning coach or a coach that had taken a team to the Final Four.
Dykes had no business being a head coach.
Look, I could do an entire show about the debacle that was Jimmy Dykes era.
Loki, make a note. We can do this a YouTube exclusive.
I mean, Sarah and I could do. We might do. And now we're on Spotify with the podcast. They have this subscription thing where people can have paid content. That might be
that's
one
like
of our
making
paid...
Zach a basketball coach in college.
You know what? She's not wrong.
Let's not insult Zach that way.
Oh no. I mean, she's not entirely wrong. Hey, couple of notes. Before we continue our discussion real quick, today is the last day to renew your baseball season tickets. So if you guys want season tickets to the Omaha Hogs, today is the last day to do it. The second one, make sure you guys set your clocks back tonight.
Not tonight.
Not tonight, this weekend. Sorry.
This weekend. Yeah.
This weekend.
Yeah. Move your clock back from happiness and sunshine to misery and darkness.
We're in the midst of football season.
And come party in the hog pen with me.
Oh, there you go.
I thought we already set it back to darkness because we're in the midst of football season.
Well, for 4 more games, we are.
All right. David.
Yeah, go ahead and tackle
very
that.
True.
David, I'm going to need a pronunciation key for your name, buddy. I don't want to butcher that. But he says, seems when I watch the Ladybacks during timeouts, my neighbors would be walking around and letting assistant coaches in the huddle instead of him in their coaching. Yeah, I've seen that as well.
He's not the only coach I've seen that from, though.
But
I've seen Muss do that a few times.
Yeah, Muss has done that a time or two.
Muss will do it when he's talking to the refs, but then he's right back pumping up the team. Like when he's done, that's one thing I don't see from neighbors. Like I don't see the like let's get it, let's go, let's like.
Mm-hmm. He's not the energy guy that Muss is. That's for sure.
Yeah. Sam Jones says, I made a public promise not to criticize a certain men's basketball player again after the KU win last postseason. I had to put my phone in the swear jar during the Purdue game to honor it. Well, now I can't.
We'll have no Devo blasphemy in here, okay?
We
won't have it.
No.
Not going to have it.
I mean, gets his head in the game.
Right?
That's a high school reference for anybody who's younger than me.
There's that pop shot to the Army. He's finally came up with a comeback from my Air Force burn a few minutes ago. Hey, let's switch gears as we're wrapping up the show. And how about them Hogs, man? The volleyball team and the soccer team. Soccer team 10th in the nation, and they win 4-0, moving on to the next round of the SEC tournament. And
that was a huge win. That was a huge win because Auburn was the only one who beat us in the regular season too. So
Retribution,
revenge.
baby. Retribution. And then volleyball's doing really well too. I don't have the stats.
Are they playing tonight? Is volleyball
Yeah,
playing tonight?
volleyball's on now.
Okay, that's what I
They're
thought.
ranked number 9 right now.
So, I mean, here's the thing, y'all. Just because football's bad doesn't mean the entire athletic department is bad.
No, let's fire Hunter Yurachek, right?
Yeah, let's fire Hunter Yurachek
right.
when you've got a top 10 volleyball team, a top 10 soccer team. Your track teams just won another SEC championship.
Okay, so volleyball, I got to break in here. Sorry.
Yeah, no, go ahead.
They lost tonight to Georgia in 3 straight sets.
Damn.
They will be, let's see, Sunday they'll be back at Barnhill. I don't know who they play but Kevin Trainer just put that out. He had quote tweeted the actual volleyball account with the score and just said, "Not our night. Time to get home and get back on track Sunday at Barnhill. Will be good to be home."
We've been gone for a while.
Yeah.
So
we've been gone.
I don't know. Those girls got to be hurting.
Yeah,
but no, go ahead, MC.
No, I was just going to say. I mean, volleyball went on a stretch there about like football did with, I think it was like 6 weeks away. It wasn't quite as long as football had, but they had 4 games that they were in a row that they were away from home, I think. I don't know. It was a bunch.
We're at like 6 now.
Mississippi State, they play Mississippi State in Barnhill.
Thank you, Loki.
Loki coming in clutch. He's our producer and our statistician for Inside the Hog Pen. Lastly, I mean, wrapping it up, dude.
Hold on, I gotta get this in from Josh. What did I do, Josh?
Oh my goodness,
man! It's just Torch MC night. I've been getting. We didn't even put up the majority of the comments.
Let me talk to you.
You're also in the worst part of the state. You're in the worst part of the state.
I mean, that I can't help that. That is, I was born here, so this is all I know.
Zach, are we also going to cover the e-gaming team to avoid discussing football?
Possibly. If we lose again this weekend,
if we lose to Florida this week, dude, I will pull out all the stops and just start talking.
If we lose to FIU, I'm done.
That's the one.
I will never go to a football game ever again. Because that's the only game I'm attending the rest of the year.
Very true. Final thoughts as we're wrapping up here tonight. MC, I've been teasing it for a while, but our Manning cast is starting to shape up, is it not? I mean, we're going to do some testing here.
Yeah, we're going to do some testing. We're probably going to test it out on privately test it out Monday night with Alcorn State. And then if I'm telling you, if we get this delay thing figured out,
it's going to be fun.
Well, it'll be fun. I'm just going to have to.
I know how to fix the delay. Both of y'all come to Bud Walton.
Well,
sell your kidneys and come to Bud Walton for Duke.
I mean,
if I'm selling a kidney, it's for the Duke game. It ain't for Alcorn State. It's for the Duke game.
It's for the Duke game. But wow. We're pulling it, by the way, for the Duke game. We are pulling out all the stops.
Man, that's
good. If y'all want to come to Alcorn State, I'll buy your ticket.
There will be a special pregame coverage of Arkansas Duke that week. But
you said that week. Okay, because Sarah will be incognito before the game.
we did like a just a quick 30-second hit from Sarah. She froze. She froze. We almost made it through.
I have so many stories about post show about last weekend because it got. We were lit for the Purdue game.
There we go. Hey, there's more stuff for the paid subscription content right there. So
hey, y'all make sure subscribe to our podcast because you never know what's going to pop up there. Even we've been talking about doing a behind the scenes show.
Anytime someone says paid content. Anytime
someone
says paid
content.
Not OF stuff.
No, if you start on OnlyFans,
only Hogs. Only Hogs.
Oh, there we go.
Hey, there you go. I like it.
Yes, we may have something there.
Loki said not to tempt him.
I mean, hey, our producer, dude, he spits out all kinds of ideas. By the way, we may have an article or two in the next couple of weeks.
Oh wow.
So y'all stay tuned for it. But wrapping it up, I mean, all in all, Arkansas is not in a bad spot overall athletically, if you guys think about it.
No, things are good. I mean, football's down, but hopefully they'll get things turned around. We could talk about will Sam or won't Sam come back? I don't think we're to that point yet. If we don't make a bowl game, I mean, right now there's still hope to hold on to. There's that hope of holding on to the fact that they're going to win out. I don't think it's going to happen, but it is mathematically possible for them to win out and, end up at like the Birmingham Bowl or some kind of, whatever. But
I mean, you could always go to the Rob Gronkowski LA Bowl.
I mean, yeah, you get the Jimmy Kimmel Cheez-It Bowl.
Right.
But no, they're going to end up 4-8. I mean, let's just call it what it is.
Arkansas Razorbacks, we ain't making it bowl.
That's pretty funny. No, I mean, there's so you're saying there's a chance, right, MC?
Yeah, exactly.
There's a chance. It all kicks off 11 a.m. Saturday morning. Oof, that's gonna be
no. Just get us to Monday night.
We got a 3 p.m. game.
We did. Yeah.
Next week, Auburn, 3 p.m. I will be there on the sidelines. Be looking for me.
Hey, I gotta say this real quick.
The one game I choose to work, you don't text me and tell me you're coming.
I told you I was.
I gotta throw this in there because with the plethora of 11 a.m. games, in the last 10 years, Arkansas has played 35 11 a.m. games. Anybody want to guess how many of those they've won?
Wait, don't tell me. 35 total, right?
35 total
10.
In the last 10 years.
I'll go 10.
Close. Sarah, you have a guess?
5.
11. They're 11 and 24 in the last 10 years in 11 a.m. games.
Oh, wow.
So there you go. If you want to make a little wager on the game, that's a stat that might play into your decision making.
We do not condone betting of any kind here on Inside the Hog Pen,
for entertainment purposes only.
If you want to throw a little chump change our way for helping you out, go for it. We'll take donations.
We've also, like we said, never won at Florida. So
right?
Yeah, never.
Screw you, Mark Curls. I love football, but why be miserable when there are so many other sports we are kicking ass in? That's coming from Loki. Point.
See, the only people who are miserable are the ones not on the hill living life.
Just get me to Monday.
Hey, Monday, dude. Monday, it all goes down.
Yeah.
The losses from the football team go away. Hog Hoops is officially back, and we begin our march. And we begin our journey.
Did you say you're coming? Are you coming for Auburn?
Yes.
You said you're coming for Auburn? Are you coming up Friday night? Are you coming to basketball?
We have not decided yet.
Yeah, because they had basketball the Friday night before the Auburn game, right?
We have not decided yet. I'll get with Katie.
Then you can get in Sarah's School of Hoops and sit next to me by the visitor bench. Just buy a cheap upper deck ticket and come find me.
Zach by the visitor bench. What could possibly go wrong there?
We got flipped off by Texas, whatever.
Are we sure that's safe for me? I mean, I don't hold the. Here's the thing. Kane and Sandy may be the number one Arkansas fan, but I don't hold the title of loudest mouth in the fan base for nothing. All right.
You haven't been next to me or MC during a basketball game.
I cannot wait. Yeah, I'm telling y'all now, I cannot wait for the day I watch a game with MC. I am like, I have heard so much. Monday night is going to be so much fun. I may spend the whole show just dying laughing. Just by watching MC.
I'm about to go buy you a ticket right now.
I will talk to Katie and see if we can.
I will buy her a ticket if they're cheap enough.
I will talk to Katie about getting a hotel room up in Fayetteville Friday night.
I got a giant ass couch downstairs.
There you go.
Like I said, I'll talk to the boss lady, see what she says. But y'all, it's time we say goodnight.
It's been a good one, man. It's been a good one.
Time to say goodnight. Next week, same bat time, same bat channel. For Marcus MC Carlton and Sarah Swish Vogel, I'm Razorback Zach. You have been watching an all-new episode of Inside the Hog Pen. Until next time, so long, everybody.